Another story in the news, we saw a letter from President Morsi of Egypt where he revealed that he was kidnapped before, I think this is the first time that we've heard anything from the leader of the Muslim Brotherhood. As a human rights barrister, for a man that's been imprisoned, does it look like the situation is improving, or what's to happen next?
No, I mean, from what we're seeing now, and it is obviously of serious concern, the allegations that he's made that are going to have to be fully investigated. But the whole process in the president being deposed and the targeting of the Muslim Brotherhood now is something that's going to have to be dealt with. Whether this was a military coup or not, who supported it, I mean, all of those questions are being asked. And coincidentally, I'm just travelling to Istanbul next week to discuss some of those issues. Well,
government's in trouble. We saw Bangladesh there. Country's been in deadlock for, if not the last few weeks, a lot longer than that. Yeah. It's in stalemate. There's been no movement. Both sides can't agree on anything to come. An election should be coming very soon. What's been happening?
Well, the elections are supposed to take place in January, and it's anybody's guess whether they will take place or not, and if they do take place, whether the opposition will participate. The position that we've seen advocated by the international community is that there has to be dialogue, there has to be a credible system implemented so that all sides can come. Now, of course, reading between the lines, what you see is the main opposition party, BNP, are calling for a caretaker government system, coincidentally a system that the Awami League insisted on being installed in the first place, that they've now removed. And then you've got the Prime Minister stating that she will effectively be leading the party in a parliamentary-style election.
Now, if I could just add, Greg, Bangladesh is also a developing economy, but there are many, many areas in Bangladesh which are really poverty-struck. In terms of the individuals who suffer as a result of some of these strikes and protests that take place in the country, from the United Nations side of things, should we be trying to put a halt to some of this?
I think nothing that would affect any level of assistance to what in Bangladesh are known as the ultra-poor is going to help in any respect. I think the work of the World Food Programme is particularly focused in a country like Bangladesh on nutrition for young children. And there's a lot of research which is accepted nowadays that if you miss this opportunity of good nutrition in the early years of life, you really set people back for the rest of their lives. So I think we as humanitarian agencies have to really just carry on a separate track. We have a big job to do and a very important job to do in places like Bangladesh, working to create these safety nets for children, to lay the foundation so that the next generation is equipped physically and intellectually to contribute as best they can to their country's future.
Talking about next generations and being able to contribute, last week we all saw the campaign that students from London University Queen Mary starting after being denied adequate facilities for prayer. Adding to that, the cancellation of Mufti Menk's tour across university platforms made sure I went back to follow up on the campaign and to explore the wider pressure on Muslim students in universities. As university Islamic societies continue to feel the heat of what they can and can't practice, this week seems to have been no different. Students were on campus after Reading Week, and at Queen Mary University of London, the students here are still waiting on the Dean's response. Speaking to iTalk representative Samir Johar, he told me about their continuing campaign.
Currently we're in negotiation with the principal. He's found out that this protest isn't just a one-off thing, it's an actually systematic, sustained campaign that's going to go on for a while. Originally he thought it's just like he's going to wait for it to die down, but I think he's come to realise that we're really on this. We have wide student body support. The SU is backing us greatly. We have support from non-student faith societies. We have support from KCL, King's College, and things like that. So I think it's very much just a matter of now negotiating with the principal and getting to find a room.
The university has come under pressure from students on the campus after a protest on insufficient facilities for the Friday prayer.
We've been sort of galvanising the community across the university to campaign alongside the ISOC to protest for prayer space to be provided by the university. It's really important that the university provide that space for the 1/5 of the population that is Muslim on campus that require that space for Friday prayers.
When it comes to universities and Muslims in Britain, the Islamic Society at Queen Mary and the issues being faced are not the only to have drawn attention. Arriving into the country early this week, Zimbabwean scholar Mufti Ismail Menk was set to visit 6 universities, including Oxford and Leeds. After university officials became concerned over some of the scholar's views, his tour was cancelled. Arriving into Britain, he was later detained at Heathrow Airport for at least 7 hours. Many in Britain and the world over felt alarmed that the highly respected scholar was held in such fashion. London-based scholar Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad spoke to me about his worries over some of what was happening.
This will create a tension between both communities, because at the end of the day, Muslims will respect their scholars, their leaders. And if they see that their leaders are treated in this humiliating way, then this will create kind of tension between them and the state. The sense of belonging that we always talk about, that our children, our youngsters, ourselves as British citizens should feel towards our government, that will diminish. And by time, that will create other problems.
Now joining me to discuss the situation at Queen Mary and with student societies overall are Ibrahim Ali, Vice President of FOSIS, the Federation of Islamic Societies, and Faraz Fat Khan, Campaign Representative for Queen Mary Islamic Society. Now, lots of different things there that they've been mentioning. I mean, we've got the situation at Queen Mary, we've got the situation with Mufti Menk. What is all of this? Well, Sheikh Haytham, they're telling me that this can exacerbate the issue between the younger generation when these things are happening to their scholars. Ibrahim?
Yeah, I mean, we are quite concerned. I think the issue we made and the point we made to many organisations was that Muslim students and Muslim community as a whole needs a space to actually discuss these things in the public sphere. And if that space is removed, or they feel that they're being pressured to leave that space, then all this thing will do is create a tension, a climate of lack of belonging, a lack of their views are not valued, and also as well is that these things will go underground. And we think that there are difficult topics, there are controversial issues, but they need to be discussed in a public way, in the right way as well, in the right setting. But at the same time, we need to do this publicly, and people need to feel confident to do this, in their communities.
Faraz, if I could come to you in a public way today, Queen Mary students were outside protesting again because of inadequate prayer facilities for their Friday prayers. What's happening?
So again today we were outside on the greenery as we have been for, this is coming to the 3rd time now. So, I mean, we've got a lot of support from other universities. I mean, anybody that was there today would see that actually the whole greenery was packed out. There was a space for the sisters at the back as well. So we really, the support has been great. We've been seeing from all angles, essentially. It seems as though we're really taking the right steps with this, and that we're really just going to keep on pushing, hoping the university understands.
Well, I went down earlier in the week, and when I spoke to some of the guys there, they said that they still hadn't received a response from the dean. Yeah. So what's next for the ISOC, Ibrahim?
Again, we've had communications with the university, and we made the following points that, again, they have obligation to provide facilities, whether it be food, for prayer, for study, and this is a symptom of wider issues that universities feel they need to sort of shed themselves responsibility, that they can sort of privatise religion and take it off campus, and that's not right.
Well, that's what the university is saying, right? The university has said that it's a secular institution. They don't have to provide these prayer facilities. If they do, they do. If they can, they will. But it's not something that's a necessary requirement.
But the students are not secular. And that's the point. You have students of faith. You have Christians, you have Jews, you have Muslims, you have Sikhs, and we need to have facilities where they can actually take 5 to 10 minutes out of their time to recharge, spiritually connect with their creator. That's really important to people. And there's many studies to show that there's a direct link between a removal of a religious service and their academic achievement and attainment. And that is detrimental to a young and vibrant community that's only started to go into HE recently.
Right. Can I just ask you both very briefly? Now, we saw Sheikh Haytham Al-Haddad in that video. When I spoke to him, one of the first things he said was that when you see these things happening to respected elders, how does it make young people feel? How does that make you feel as an individual, Ibrahim?
I completely agree with Sheikh Haytham's comments. I think that this will create a anxiety amongst young people that they see respected scholars, students of knowledge, people in the community who are well spoken, who articulate the difficult issues in a good way. And I think that when they see that these things are happening to them, and they don't see that there's no, right, they see there's no way out of this, they get quite concerned, and it really upsets people quite a lot, to be honest.
Faraz, any comments on that?
I mean, I think at the same time, I completely agree with what Sheikh Haytham says there. I think people just need to be considerate in terms of that certain individuals, they do have certain scholars, you know, that they look up to, that they get their information from. And I mean, if there are issues regarding their teachers and the people that they look up to, then you might be, you know, being faced with certain issues and potential disunity amongst certain people and individuals.
Right, now lots of different stories have been trending throughout the week, so let's have a quick look at some of the things you've been tweeting about.
In light of the Commonwealth Summit, the host Sri Lanka's human rights record has been put into question. As the trial of former News Corporation employees continues, new evidence has emerged. RebekahBrooks, a hacking victim herself? Zimbabwean cleric Mufti Menk's visit to Britain split opinion on Twitter, some tweeting their support after finding out he had been detained, and others calling the cleric extreme. Hashtag anti-Islamic profiting emerged on Twitter as American rights group CAIR revealed writers who had spoken out against Islam have made financial gain.
Right now, in those tweets, there are a couple of different things, but the one thing that I found very, very interesting was what CAIR in the US revealed, that a lot of people spreading Islamophobic comments were getting paid for some of this. And if I could ask you very briefly on that, Ibrahim.
I'm actually quite surprised people make money out of pathetic, you know, trash tabloidy comments like these. I mean, look, I think it's really important that, you know, Islam in the West and Islam in general, there's a right for discussion, debate, critique, but it needs to be done in a way that comes with a sincere approach. And I think that when you're actually profiteering out of this, it's quite unscrupulous behaviour.
For us, we saw there somebody was saying, actually, it's not unexpected. Oh, well, it's something that we should have thought all along.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with Brother Ibrahim here, essentially. That somebody can really, you know, profit from something like this. I mean, yeah, it's just not great at all. You can't be doing something like that.
Interesting facts. Now, unfortunately, that is all we've got time for this evening. I want to thank all of my guests, Farad Khan, Ibrahim Ali, Toby Cadman and Greg Barrow for joining us, and of course you at home for watching. Remember to keep up with the Twitter conversation using hashtag The Report. We will be following stories throughout the week, so do keep tweeting. If you prefer, you can email us your thoughts on The Report at islamchannel.tv. Also, many of you have been asking about previous programmes, so to watch some of those, do go onto our YouTube channel at /Islam Channel TV. But for now, we'll leave you some scenes from the United States, where a 6-ton stock of confiscated elephant ivory has been destroyed. The stockpile of ivory was destroyed as a symbolic gesture against wildlife trafficking and poaching that threatens to wipe out African elephants. Do tune in next week to join us for your report, but until then, from all of us here, Assalamu alaikum.